So folks, well, what's the crack? How you all doing? This is episode 22 of the Rebel podcast. As usual, myself, Ro. So this is the very first sit-down interview since lockdown, way back in March when we've done the interview with John Gardy, the Belfast busser. So folks, today I'm joined, or should I say, I'm in Mairtin's house. I'm joining him.
You're very welcome.
So we're joined by the great Mairtin Huigin, folks. So welcome along, Marty, to the show. It's great to have you with us. As I say, I'm with you this afternoon. I've travelled down the area of Glenravel, so I have, in the beautiful Glens of Antrim. So I'm really looking forward to this, folks, this afternoon. So we're here today in the Glens of Antrim, Mairtin's home. It's an area, you'd say, Mairtin?
There's the whole area is called Glenravel.
Yeah. So it's not actually a village then, so it isn't?
No, it's made up of 3 villages between Martinstown, Carrigan, Newton, Crumlin. So.
Right, so for the very first time, and hopefully the first of many, today's show is being recorded for audio as normal on SoundCloud, and also for video. That's going to go on to Facebook and YouTube as well. So fingers crossed, this is going to go well. So we tried it before, and memory cards didn't work halfway through it. Right, so during the course of the episode, folks, we're going to sit and have a yarn about basically everything and anything. Marley will also record 4 live acoustic songs, and I'm probably going to be joining them for one as well later on the cajon, hopefully. We'll see how it sounds when it's recorded. So, Marty, so you come from, not seen at the village of Glenravel, but it's an area called Glenravel in the Glens of Antrim. So, obviously, funnily enough, Mairtin was the last guest I had on the live podcast, folks, we had on the Sundays. And I think since we had such a good crack that day, so we had for the very first one since lockdown, we'll go down and do this here properly.
Yeah,
and
no worries.
We've had a good day so far. So, obviously, in the Bobby Sands song, Mairtin, the name Glenravel is mentioned at the start of the song. So, why does the song have such significance to the area of Glenravel?
Well, the song actually came as the song's actually about a man called Mickey Mickelhatton, who actually was a real person, who was a fiddle player, good musician, and he was apparently very Republican minded. And he, as I say, he was in poaching maker, and he actually was interned and done time in jail as well. And whenever Malachy Curie went into the blocks, and he shared the cell along with Bobby Sands, he told him about this poaching maker from Glenravel, and he then wrote a poem about it and then handed it through the walls into Bick McFarland, who was next door, and they wrote a poem about it, and then Bick put the music to it. So it's all about just a poaching maker up, and poaching up around the Glens of Antrim was a big thing in them days, way back in the 70s as well, you know, so there's a lot of families involved, and poaching is still maybe available, but I can't say that.
Earlier on this morning there, actually, Mairtin took me a drive up around the hills here, brought me up to his home, and
brought you up to his house where he lived, and where his home house was as well, you know, and brought you down and around, showed you where his local bar would have been in Newton Crumlin up in the scary end.
Beautiful area, so it is here, folks, definitely. I was actually saying, asking about house prices, about maybe wanting to move down here, so mate. Right, so let's go, and actually, folks, earlier on today we went and recorded the song Mickelhatton at the graveside of Mickey Mickelhatton, just across the road there. So we're going to look out for that. I'll be added in later on in the episode, so we'll have that recorded for video and audio, so that'll be something to look forward to. So, Marty, let's go way back to the start. So we're going back a few years, right? So obviously, you most likely had a bit of hair in your head.
There was a long time ago, Rory.
And I can't talk because my body patch is getting bigger and bigger as the...
Get it off.
I want to get it off, but Laura won't let me. She keeps going, no, I don't like you're going to look good, Paul, you know, here, blah, blah. And
you look good anyway.
I says, if I grow a beard, it might sort of take a look off the baldy head.
Upside down head, eh?
Yeah. So, obviously, when did you sort of first pick up a guitar and start getting involved in music?
Well, when I was a child, about 10 years of age, myself and another friend of mine, we both went to guitar lessons with just a neighbour, and it was just charged as £1 a lesson for an hour, and that's how long it was whenever it was £1 for an hour of a lesson for a guitar. And
£1 an hour?
£1 an hour is what it was, but it was only 10 years of age.
Is that a pound note?
No, that probably was a pound note. The Queen Mary school bag on as well. But so then we just basically we learned the lesson. That was 10, and the first time I ever played was at a school concert, primary school, and I signed the card of the county, as I told you that there the last time on the podcast. So then after that there, I went to school, and simply secondary school, and I sort of ended up forgetting about the guitar, and I'd left it be for a long, long time, and I didn't pick it up till later years, maybe 96 again, 96, 97, when I started playing music again, and that's when I joined the band, and we got back in and joined Celtic Rogue from Machara in South Derry.
And actually, you're talking about the band. We'll mention obviously a bit later on, but there's the CD you mentioned about Celtic Road. There was I had that CD in the house my dad had years ago because it involved the Rally McCorley song.
Yeah,
and
that's right. Yeah,
now I know there's somebody mutual we know was involved in it. Somebody.
Yeah.
So obviously, like the majority of the stuff you were known for, like a rebel singer.
Yeah.
Like, so would you have been sort of playing like rebel stuff from the very start? I mean, would you even come from a Republican family at all?
Well, the family wouldn't have been nationalist. They wouldn't have said they'd be actually a Republican.
Right.
But it would have been very nationalist, very sort of holy Catholic family. We'd have been brought up basically in a lot of maybe the likes of the Clancys, the Dubliners, the Chieftains, and the Wolf Tones were always there as well. You know, that sort of way. But music was always a thing in our family. You know, there was always music playing. We were always singing. I enjoyed music, but funny enough, none of my family actually, my mother's family, they actually don't sing or play anything at all. Nothing at all. My brothers can't sing, and my mother and father never really sang. But my father came from 14. And they were known for playing music, so maybe I get it from them.
Right. So when would you have started playing the rebel stuff then? Like?
That was when I joined Celtic Rogue.
Right, okay.
When I joined, that was back in 1996, sorry.
Was I 60? 1960?
I know I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Now.
But no, back in 1996, 97, I joined Celtic Rogue. And there were only a few songs. I used to go up I worked in a local bar, the Green Hills up in Cargan. And there was another band used to come in and they would have played and I would have come up and sang a song. And
what did you do, the barman or something?
I used to work in the bar in there.
Right, okay, right.
And that's how I ended up joining Celtic Road, because their lead singer left them. And I was looking for them to do a gig and they says, no, we broke up with no singer. Right. And funny enough, there's another friend over in Dunloy, Jimmy Gaston. You maybe heard of him, I don't know. But I'd asked him for the number and he says, oh, you sing a song too? He says, maybe put your name forward. You go and sing, and I just laughed him off and goes, yeah. But that's how it came across. I went and met the boys and went down into, it used to be Maggie's Bar in Mairtin, and I sang a few songs and joined the band, and that was just the way it went from that. So
obviously you've talked there, the next question is going to be, have you sort of always been out your own, or have you been involved in the band? So like Celtic Rogue, what happened with Emmons?
Well, it's basically just life. People get married, had children, and just went their separate ways, and that's just the way it went. And then I just kept on playing on my own, just as says I was enjoying the music, so I just kept on playing and singing, and I just thought I'll do a solo career. But I started off maybe doing a lot more maybe folky music, because I love my folk music as well, you know, that sort of way. Yep. But every time I was going on, everybody knew me from singing rebel songs, so it was just they were asking for rebel, so it just ended up. So that's just the way it went.
So folks, as I mentioned earlier on there at the start, over this morning there, when I come over, I'll say this afternoon, we went over to the graveyard across the road where Mickey McElhatton is buried. Obviously, you'll know from the song probably made famous by, say, most people know Christy Moore singing it. So went over and recorded it. Marty sort of spoke a bit about the song at the start, what it's all about, who Mickey was, and then we recorded the song. So we're going to do that now here for you. So hope you enjoy it.
Good evening, folks. You're very, very welcome here to the lovely spot of Glenravel, my home town where I live, and it's made famous by the song of Mickey McElhatton. Sorry about that. You're in the countryside. Made famous about Mickey McElhatton, a famous poaching maker from the Green Glens of Antrim in Glenravel. The song was co-written by Malachy Carey from Lochgiel and Bobby Sands, whom the two of them shared a cell with. And they passed the note through to Vic McFarland, who was in the cell next to them. And between the three of them, they made the song up, which actually was sent to Colm Scullion over in Balachi, and then subsequently hit to Christy Moore. And they came up with a song for Mickey McElhatton, which I'm going to sing for yourselves now, a memory of our Mickey McElhatton. In Glenravel's Glen there lives a man who some would call a god. Get you your 6 bottle of his poaching, it cost you 30 bob. Come winter, summer, the frost all over, a jig of the spring, the breeze. In the dead of night, a man's just by McElhatton, if you please. Oh, McElhatton, if learned to need you, I may shake your man. And where are your socks of barley when your legs be seen again? And a jig to the man, a reel to the drop, and a swing to the girl he loves. And your fiddles playing poaching cure, company up above. Well, There's a wisp of smoke in the south of the glen, watching us on the air. There's birds in the burrows, rabbits in the sky, there's drunkards everywhere. And the scaries are up, the foxes out, and the God is chasing the hounds. But the only thing in decent shape buried beneath the ground. Oh, Michael, hadn't you flirt to need you by a million shaking men? And where are your sacks of barley, your legs be seen again? And a jig to the man, a reel to the drop, and a swing to the girl he loves. And your fiddles playing Ponty and Cure, company up above. And Michael Haddon's house, the fairies are out dancing round the hobs. And the goats, scallops, the dogs run away their salmons down the bog. And he has 1,000,000 gallons of wash, and the peers are in the glen. He ain't gonna catch Michael Hatton, Mickey ain't coming home again. Oh, Michael Hatton, you flirt to need you by a million shaking men. And where are your sacks of barley, your legs be seen again? And a jig to the man, a reel to the drop, and a swing to the girl he loves. Your fiddles playing Ponty and Cure, company up above. Nicky Michael Hatton, oh, Michael Hatton, you birds, we need you by a million shaking men. Where are your sacks of barley, your legs be seen again? And a jig to the man, a reel to the drop, and a swing to the girl he loves. Your fiddles playing Ponty and Cure, company up above. Mickey Michael and Ravel County Antrim. Some of the fabulous, sadly no longer with us, Bobby Sands and Malachi Carey and Vic Farland. Thank you very much.
Folks, yeah, so that was our version earlier on. I'll say Marley's version of Michael Hatton, recorded over in is that Glen Ravel's graveyard then, or
Glen Ravel graveyard?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So hope you enjoyed that, folks. Right, so Marley, I first bumped into you when I was playing with the Only Alsop, Alsop flute band back away a few years ago. Now we were marching in the annual Huigin and Mairtin commemoration in Dunloy. So you were playing in the Village Inn afterwards. So were, and we obviously all stayed for a few pints, and obviously it's the first time I had never heard of you before. So I hadn't seen you playing, and then sort of had a yarn. So I ended up sort of booking you for two. I think it was our anniversary function was coming up, so we had a big do in St Kevin's Hall on the. It was a Saturday night, which was it's well knocked down nice, what is whatever.
That's right,
and then on the Sunday, you and Darren come up and played in Dicey's or Fitzy's.
Fitzy's, it was Fitzy's,
upstairs after the parade and stuff. So it was. So I think from then, so I've been sort of stalking you a bit, ever still sort of melting your head and annoying you on Facebook and stuff.
You're grand.
But I think we've become good friends from first sort of met you there. You were kind enough to send me to your albums there a few weeks ago, obviously before we've done the live podcast, and I got so two great albums called Road of Honour and Lullabies and Battle Cries. So now what I've noticed sort of from the CDs and sort of watching you live a good few times now, you always do talk about the songs before you start singing them. You tell the story of maybe what volunteers they're about, and just sort of that kind of thing. I mean, so do you think that is really important for a rebel singer to sort of tell the stories about the songs you're singing? Like,
I personally, I think it's very, very important, because I've seen so many people. It's okay to get into a bar and you can sing and get the crowd pumping the air and they're shouting this, and the young ones shouting and roaring, but do they really know what they're shouting and roaring and punching the air about? So you want to show. There's another thing is respect as well, because you want to show respect for the people that we're actually singing about. We're telling stories of our friends, our families, our comrades, or whatever. So these people need to be educated in what we are actually singing about. We're talking about a real life situation. It's not fictional. These was very brave volunteers, and without them volunteers, we wouldn't be in the situation that we are today, living in Ireland at the moment. So to me, it's very, very important that people actually know. And one of the realisations was years ago, whenever the Lullabies and Battle Cries came out, and I sang Grace. And I've been singing Grace for years and years. But a young girl came up and she had bought the CD a few weeks past, and she came up to me and she said, I never realised that's what that song was about.
Seriously?
And I goes,
you're singing it?
And I says, you've been singing this song, watching me playing in the bar for years, and you never realised? He goes, no, I hadn't a clue. And I thought, oh, well, that's, to me, the CD's made it, and that's me happy, because now I've educated one. So if your songs educate one person, that's good enough. You know what I mean? So it's an education for songs, and people need to know what they're singing about.
Because I think even it's something I say about it on the phone interview. Obviously, when I would be introducing the songs on the live podcast, and I would always try and get as much information as possible about the singer and whatever on the album and stuff.
Yeah.
And the amount of people would PM me or even notice in the comments, going, "Fuck, I never knew that."
Yeah.
You learn something new every day, or I didn't know about that guy or what that song was about or whatever. You know, I think that's definitely important to sort of.
I think it's very, very important. Yeah, it's an education.
Yeah. So obviously we're going to go into the first live bit of music. Folks say we're going to do 4 songs this afternoon. So I think we sort of said the first one we're going to do is Gerard Casey.
Yeah.
And so just obviously tell us a wee bit about this here song, Mairtin.
Well, you see, I'd be like coming from round the Glens of Antrim, where we live very, very close here to Rishargan and Dunloy, and we're sort of nationalist villages in North Antrim. We're surrounded by sort of the loyalists and the other side of the division, if you want to put it that way there. But Gerard Casey was he was a very brave volunteer too, and he was murdered as he lay innocently in his bed in his home, in his village of Rishargan. And it's just something like that, and they were never ever caught. And the week prior to Gerard being murdered, his house was raided by the police. So and the gunmen that night of the execution of Gerard, they actually walked down, straight up the door, went straight into his room and shot him. So they didn't have to look. So it was obviously a collusion thing, and that's, it's another murder of collusion. So I think that's something that needs to be highlighted as well, so through your music and song too. So it's a personal thing, and then you've got to know the family of the Caseys as well, and his friends and family too, so.
It must be like if you're ever doing a gig and as family are at a parade, sing that song, like.
It's well, I sort of got emotional, to be honest,
Right, sure.
Because you feel everything, you do feel it. You feel it in your heart, and you're going through as you're singing the song, you're going through every step of the song, you're going through everything that happened that night, and you're seeing things, and your head goes in it, and you're just solely in that song. So that's to me what the song's all about. It's singing with your heart.
So folks, here we go. This is our first of the 4 live songs this afternoon. So this is the ballad, Gerard Casey.
Yep. They are. You ready? This song that I sing of a brave young Irishman, the struggle for freedom's a free Ireland. And he joined the IRA, he became a volunteer. His comrades in arms, he never showed no fear. And volunteer Gerard Casey, freedom fighter of all, the plight of his country, he answered the call. And while an act of service, he would never question why that brave volunteer was not afraid to die. Oh, this man from North Antrim, I'm sure you've all heard tell, Gerard Casey's his name, Rishargan he did 12. He fought for his country and he gave up his life for his family and his friends, his darling young wife. Well, in his younger days he lived life to the full, playing Gaelic football when things are not so dull. And working with his father, he served out his time, and to set Ireland free, to him it was no crime. And no stranger to harassments at the hands of the foe, he was tortured and arrested, to carcerated go. And threatened by imprisonment and death in the end, that brave volunteer, to them they would not bend. Oh, this man from North Antrim, I'm sure you've all heard tell, Gerard Casey's his name, Rishargan he did 12. He fought for his country and he gave up his life for his family and his friends, his darling young wife. The crew of British assassins, in the cover of the dark, they headed for Rishargan and off to Shamrock Park. And with their guns of terror they kicked down the door, and the cowards they were looking for that family man of 4. When they found him with his wife and his baby girl in bed, they sprayed English bullets, they shot Gerard Casey dead. And the cobbers they fled in the cover of the night, but his family and his friends will carry on the fight. Oh, this man from the Tantrum, I'm sure you've all heard tell. Jared Casey's his name, for his shark and he did 12. He fought for his country and he gave up his life for his family and his friends, his darling young wife. His funeral at St. Mary's, dark forces of the crown, large crowds assembled when the rain had poured down. The piper, he played a farewell at the grave in memory of our Gerds, the bravest of the brave. And volunteers who went before him, they lie in a plot, Jared Casey and their names, they'll never be forgot. Oh, this man from the Tantrum, I'm sure you've all heard tell. Jared Casey's his name, for his shark and he did 12. He fought for his country and he gave up his life for his family and his friends, his darling young wife. Oh, this man from the Tantrum, I'm sure you've all heard tell. Jared Casey's his name, for his shark and he did 12. He fought for his country and he gave up his life for his family and his friends, his darling young wife. For his family and his friends, his darling young wife. Nice one, Rory. Enjoyed that, man. It's good. Cheers, that. Thought we weren't allowed to handshake. Nice one. That was good.
So folks, there you go. That was the Ballad of Jared Casey from Mairtin. Excellent. Right, so Marty, on your Lullabies and Battle Cries album, right, so there's two songs that are a bit sort of close to my heart, I'll sort of have to say. And these are two songs that you'll not probably hear a lot of rebel singers doing. So two songs called The Plastic Bullets and Ronnie McCorley. So the Plastic Bullets song mentions two young children from my home state of Leonardon in West Belfast who were murdered by the state. Actually, Julie Livingstone, there's a mural to her just 2 doors down from me on the big gable wall, so there is. And Carl Ann Kelly, there's actually a monument for her at the bottom of Leonardon Avenue where I live. So the tale is, actually, that goes to the song, the tune of Belfast Streets, isn't it?
To me, it was just a beautiful, beautiful song. I'm not too sure who actually wrote the song. I can't remember who wrote the song. But it was just, at that time I was around the same age as Carol Ann Kelly, and I can remember.
Were you? Is that how long that was?
That's it is. I was actually after the death of Francis Hughes, so it was, and there was riots must have been in Leonardon,
right?
And they were actually walking home, and as you know, they get with the groceries for their mother and father or whatever, and they get hit by a plastic bullet at a short distance. But it was one of them, I can remember in the magazine seeing the picture of Karen Ann Kelly in her coffin, and the just a child with a bruised face. You know the picture, you're probably with yourself. And to me, at the same age as her, this just really, really hit me hard. Like,
heartbreaking,
it's terrible. So it was a song that I always loved to hear been done, and always to keep alive their names and their memories, and indeed all the people that actually died at the hands with plastic bullets, and because it's absolutely horrendous what the British done at them stages, you know. Yeah,
so obviously the other song was Ronnie McCorley. I grew up from a very young age. Ronnie McCorley Social Club is right across the road from me, so it is.
Yep.
My dad, Kevin, has been involved with the society from as far back as sort of, I can remember, so he's had us up collecting glasses, cleaning the grounds of the place, and just we've been basically there ever since, you know, whatever. And he's on the committee of the club now. He works behind the bar in it.
Yeah,
so he's actually, and he's the curator of the museum up there as well.
Yeah, very good club.
So obviously we all grew up learning about the history of Ronnie McCorley and the Toonbridge and the Pikemen.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about singing this here song on your album, like.
I wanted actually an anthem thing as well. You know what I mean? It's me being a county anthem. I'm a proud anthem man. I wanted an anthem song in there as well. And that's why maybe I brought in the likes of Plastic Bullets as well. But whenever we were even children growing up, and you were sent off to maybe a tin whistle class, that was Roddy McCurdy we weren't learning Sean South, we're learning Roddy McCurdy, you know.
So that there actually, so people knows it goes Sean South, the ball goes to the tune of Roddy McCurdy, the song.
That's correct.
So some people might think, Dave took Sean South there. It's not.
No,
it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. And that's what I say, because a lot of people would come up to me and they would go, Sean, you know, you're in at the start of a night, so you're not going to end the night with whatever. But so they're going Sean South, and every next he finishes the song and goes Sean South, this goes on. So I go, right, I'm going to mess this up. So I go, Roddy McCurdy, and they're all singing Sean South back at me, and I'm singing Roddy McCurdy, going, you don't even listening here, are you? You know, so
I just listen to the tune.
You know, but it's an anthem song, and it's always nice to, you know, to keep alive them songs.
Yeah, definitely. So before we go on to the whole Santa Ponsa thing, right, obviously, so we mentioned this in the live interview of the podcast. Your obviously main source of income is through singing throughout the year over in the season out there. So obviously now you've been stuck home here, so you have, and obviously it's a lovely place to be stuck in, like, if you want to be stuck here. Yeah. But I mean, it's had to sort of affected you financially, like, I'm sure.
Financially, it's been absolutely horrendous. What we've and any self-employed musician has been going through, it's absolutely horrendous. And we haven't been treated well with the governments at all.
The North or South, definitely not.
No, it's been absolutely atrocious. But we just keep our fingers crossed and hope everything gets back sometime. And to be honest, now, the likes of the Facebook Live videos that we've done, and it took me a while to put a PayPal up because I didn't want. You always felt bad whenever I was putting out, going, "Oh God!"
But did you find that way? Was people sort of like being generous? I mean, sort of like it's.
I started that. Well, people have been actually very, very generous, and it's just humbling that actually people, and you sort of feel bad about taking it off, and then because I'm saying this to my mates and my friends and stuff, and they're going, look, if they'd have been out at the bar playing, they'd have been in drinking 10 pints, and you'd have been, you know,
paid for singing.
You'd be getting paid for singing. You're entertaining these people, and they're stuck in the house, and I go, but I know, but it's not.
You just feel bad.
You just feel as if it is bad. You're doing it, like, but the people, you're really, really humbled, and there's people donate it from everywhere. There's been people donate it from America, Scotland, England, everywhere, and it's been really, really good, and it has helped so much. So, and it's been great support, and hopefully they supported all the other musicians that entertained everybody through this lockdown, you know.
So obviously people would probably know that's been over to Santa Ponsa or whatever. They would know you mostly for gigging in the Dubliner, your residence here, all year round. So when did you first end up playing there, and how have you sort of ended up being more or less part of the furniture in the Dubliner for a good while now?
Oh God, well, I'm in the Dubliner the last 6 years, I think it is, but I actually started off playing in the Shamrock Bar, and I only went out. I left like a full-time employment job to go and do 1 month singing out in the Shamrock Bar, and so
that's always the way people go on out, try and do a few gigs and then just stay there. Not at home again.
But I only did do 1 month, and then the following year I came out and done 2 months. Then the next year I came out and done 3 months, and then that's just the way it went. And then now I've ended up back in the Dubliner, and I'm having a great time in the Dubliner, and it has been good times. And there's been a lot of bands out there. We've had Shabine out there. It's been fantastic. The Irish Brigade, obviously. Emer's been out playing in it. We've had loads of ones. It's fantastic.
I think even Kieran mentioned in his interview, like, see them. I thought there's another bar you go into where they're basically having rebel music on 7 nights a week from what is it, like 7 o'clock usually? Like somebody
9:30. 9:30.
What, 3 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the morning?
I have 3.
Like that's for many months. I mean, you're talking.
That's what I go out at the start. 1st of April I start, and I finish probably around about the 20th of October.
That's madness.
7 nights a week.
So obviously, you were hoping to get over in the next week or so. You said they opened up what's the other bar called?
Brennan's.
They opened up Brennan's.
Yeah.
And it's obviously then with this sort of bombshell come out last week with the whole travel restrictions and all whatever and stuff. So do you see yourself at all getting over to Santa Ponsa, like a season or what? Or?
Well, my fingers are still crossed. They're actually calling me this week to talk to me about it and see what I think. But this quarantine thing has just really hit everything on the head. You know, with the 14 days, it's bad. Maybe about, I don't know, maybe the end of August, September. Depends what way, because every day it's changing. Yeah, you just don't know.
It's madness, like. So, but I think even as well, people, I think Jenny are scared to go out now. I mean, I don't know if they're like me, but then again, it's a lot of sort of negativity from the government. They're giving you mixed messages. You mightn't think. Do you said earlier on? You think you just don't want people to travel. They want people to stay at home.
That's what I think. Like the Balearics, actually, where Mallorca is it's been a safe island. There's been no cases there. I know there's been cases in mainland Spain, Barcelona, and down around the Catalonia area, but It's been really good in Mallorca, but the governments, the British government, are actually telling you because they want you to stay here.
Yeah.
And they want you to spend the money because they've lost so much in the economy. So they're scaremongering you to stay in here.
But it's then there's open the bars up then and let people like it's the same thing. You can't go out and earn out there,
I know.
but then you can't earn over here either.
Sure, Boris Johnson doesn't know what he's doing. He hasn't a clue. He's the worst man you could ever have in charge of anything. Like, it's just a disgrace. That's terrible. That's.
So you'd say it's basically so April then it was October.
The end of October.
So she don't get a break at all.
No.
That's she like
No.
you're out there.
7 nights a week. That's it. You're out there full time working 7 nights a week.
So
night.
when the sort of obviously Darren comes out and then what's the Australian guy? Was it
Mark
Oates. So he's like a fiddle player.
He's a fiddle player. Yeah.
So
Amazing.
Obviously the sort of bands don't start. Like is it later on the peak season or something? They would come out?
Last year it was actually I came out and I started off done about 2 weeks on my own, and then I think Darren came out and joined me then after that, and then that's Darren there for the rest of the season. And then Mark, he joins it. Mark can only come for a wee bit because he's actually coming from Australia, so he can only come and maybe do a month at a time. So we just have to pencil it in when he's coming.
Yeah,
So
right. So obviously living and working out there as well. So how do you because it is a holiday resort, right? I mean, but how do you separate the work and personal life from sort of living it there for so long? Like, is it now? Is it just like it's a job? Do you? Well,
it is a job. It is a job that you have to do your work. You are there working, but you have to enjoy yourself. You're there to make people's holidays. You have to be as good to them and make everything happy. So you have to be informed every single night of the week. But you have your daytime's your one time, so you go and enjoy yourself. You go around. It's a beautiful island in Mallorca, so there's so much to do, and it's.
So would you go fishing or anything when you're there? Like,
well, I actually do a bit of scuba diving, so I do a bit of scuba diving. Then I've got a motorbike and stuff out there, so I do a lot of that. And I've done my boat license as well, so I've actually got a boat license. So we've rented out a few boats, and then we just head out in the boat somewhere and go swimming.
Very good.
Whatever.
You start doing booze cruises, then, so you
we see enough of boozes. Well, some booking cruises.
Well, would you actually like drink every night of the weekend, like when you're out there? I mean, because I know people are buying you. You can't. Even if you don't even have a pint, people are going, "There's fucking."
I think that's the most popular question. Everybody asks me, "Do you drink every night of the week?" You probably would, yeah. You wouldn't be getting pissed every night of the week. You would drink a couple of shandies on a night that you're not drinking. That would be a couple of shandies. But then there's never a week goes past that there's not somebody out that you know. And
so they're buying you.
They're on holidays. They expect you to be on holidays, so you do have to get down and
socialise
all that. Like I would never be drinking through the day. Like I'd be away through the day, and then I'll say, "All right, I'll meet you at such and such and say whatever," and then we'll go and have a pint. And then after work, you can go and have a pint with them. You can go and get hammered drunk if you want, but then the next day you just lie in bed all day and stuff.
What's your normal like routine of getting up? Like what time would you normally lay on to bed at? Like
you've been in bed for a normal night. You've been in bed for maybe 4 o'clock, half 4. You'd be up about 12 o'clock in the day. Go and get your breakfast somewhere. Then maybe go for a swim or go and lie on the beach or go for a ride on the bike. And then I like to be home for about 7 o'clock. Get a wee hour's sleep before I go out.
A wee
siesta. And then down to the bar and that's you starting work.
Do it all over again? Like?
That's it. Just eat, sleep, repeat. Huh?
Don't know if I could do it. Like,
it's not for everybody now. But there's been bands come out there and they've lasted a few days and going, this is not for me. I can't do this. How do you do this? I go, you actually get into a mindset and you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So obviously we're going to do another song now, folks. And any who've listened to the live podcast, you always know that I always try and play Wally and Danny every week. So I'll do a different version because every band's covered it. So it is. I love hearing different sort of ways people play it. So we're going to do that one next here. So for live. So just tell us a wee bit about Wally and Danny, the ballad there, Marty.
Well, it's a song that I remember reading up about Wally and Danny. You know what I mean? Danny Fleming, Wally Fleming, Danny Doherty, and I just remember the horrendousness of them actually getting into the Grantia Hospital and getting just absolutely riddled with bullets.
Yeah.
And then the likes of the SAS, it was a planned attack. There was no chance for them to surrender or give them a chance. It just went in and, to me, it was cold-blooded murder, basically. And then for the British government to actually acknowledge this and let the 3 boys off from the SAS and say, no, they were getting away. To me, it was horrible.
Even the whole words, like actually, it's like, I think it's the bit when they mention about the priest, knowing and every time it's just I get sort of like so annoyed when you listen to that song. I think that's why I like that song so much. And it's maybe I like the song, but then I get anger every time you listen to it. When you say that basically left them laying in the street, they wouldn't let nobody get near them, whatever. And
that was the same. There's That's been happening all the time. That's happening all the time. If you think about whenever Francis Hughes was coming home, when they're bringing him back home to his houses in Balachi, and they stopped the cortege and the way coming down the motorway, and they've tried to take the body out of the coffin, and the police. This was along this is what the British come.
Obviously, they wanted to bring the body through West Belfast on its way, obviously down the falls and back on the motorway, but they wouldn't let it go on.
Yeah.
Them up in the.
But they actually stopped them halfway between sort of Antrim and Toon. They stopped the cortege in there, and they actually got the guys out of the hearse and dragged them along the lane. One of the guys actually put the keys in his mouth to stop them getting the keys of the hearse. And all. This has been happening all the time. So, as the song says, he tried to sing some songs of freedom, and that's what we're doing. We're trying to get freedom here, and the way they were turned away, and it's just horrendous. But the younger people of the generations now, they haven't seen any of this. Like a lot of people like myself have come through a bravely bit and seen a lot of this happening. So it means a lot to me.
So what songs from Panger Band? Would you have knew them? Whenever they were going?
I wouldn't. To be honest, I wouldn't really. To be honest, they were down in Derry. We were sitting out here in the middle of the Glens of Antrim. But for us to get to Derry for a day was a big day, or else to go to Belfast. It was a long time that we would go to Belfast. This was a big day out. But we actually never went to Belfast really. Our holidays were basically what gone down to the All Ireland. Yeah. And once we got across the border in Newry, first stop was a picnic, that sort of way, and it was just like a weight off your shoulders. We can relax here now, so.
Aye. Right, so here we go. This is the next live tune, and this is the ballad of Willie and Danny.
Is that me ready to go? I'll just go right.
Try to sing some songs of freedom, sing some songs of peace. In the end, it's the same old story, they're both too hard to reach. People tell me they're sick and they're tired, seeing this place run down. But I say, take your blindfold off, you hypocrites, and help us get all off the ground. Please say it isn't so. When Willie and Danny had to go, the reason's very clear. They're laying down our lives year after year. There's 70 shots between their bodies, not one of those bullets they missed. For every trigger that was pulled that morning, the violence here, even in this. For 5 long hours they kept them lying there. The priest, he was turned away. It was just another step lower for the SES bastards we will never forget this day. Please say it isn't so. When Willie and Danny had to go, the reason's very clear. They're laying down our lives year after year. Funerals were to prove the worthiness, as they thronged the roots. Some of us, the parcel boys, be hovers, head plus the overheads, while they're all come out to salute. He emptied their magazines over his coffin, defiantly the crowd stands. But as another day dawns, the guns will be out again, 'cause Willie and Danny are friends. Please say it isn't so. Why Willie and Danny had to go, the reason's very clear. They're laying down our lives year after year. Please say it isn't so. Why Willie and Danny had to go. The reason's very clear. They're laying down their lives year after year. Please say it isn't so.
So folks, yeah, out there was the ball to Wally and Danny from the great Mairtin Huigin, folks, here in his home in County Antrim, right? So, as I mentioned when we've done the live podcast as well, you obviously come here for the Glens Antrim, and it's the legendary Sambo McNaughton County of famous for its hurling teams, so it would be. But so would you be more into the hurling or football?
Well, I personally myself, I like the hurling.
Right.
But my own club would be, we are a dual club, but we'd be more actually into the football. They put more into it. But I actually prefer the hurling, but I was never good at it, so I played football.
I was always classed as a bit of a ringer, because my size.
Did you say winger?
What? A winger? No. I mean, yeah, I'm a bit of a winger. No. So I remember going to the opposition team and they're going, fuck, he's not like under 16 or whatever. Like, why is he wearing an under 21 top or a senior kit, you know? But she brought me down to how we drive busy around the area. This morning, folks in Mairtin brought me down to this local club. I have to say, amazing.
That's good.
I mean, the facilities and or like even the pitch and the nets and all, and like the clubhouse is fantastic.
It's fantastic. It is really good. Yeah.
So what's the name of your local club here?
Con McGee's Gunravel.
Con McGee's.
Con McGee's Gunravel.
So sort of talking Antrim, right? Will be both Antrim men. Like, when sort of do you see like busy either Code being back at Crook anytime soon? Like
us getting back to Crook, maybe if Bruce Springsteen plays or something like that. Oh God, I can't. I would love to see us getting back into to the likes of the hurling anyway. At least it would be unbelievable. I was down in '89 whenever we got that famous match against Tipperary.
See that team, busy. What do you call the keeper now?
Niall Parson.
I remember.
Like Niall plays music as well.
Does he? I always remember he had one sock up and one sock down. You know, and that team there was just like it was a really special team.
Gary Kane played in that team as well. You know Gary as well.
Because I think I remember it was the guy from Dominic from Lockheed. What does he call him? He was the manager as well. Then at one stage, he was.
Who was it now? It was the Dominic. Oh God, the name's completely out of my head.
He's actually the manager of the hurling team. So he was for a while.
Yeah.
He's from Lockheed. And there was a guy, Oshin, somebody. So, but I think it was some team out there.
But look at the team you had. Sambo McNaughton there, like you know what I mean. Gary Campbell playing. All the boys from Dunloy and Ballycastle. God, that's, you know. But you'd love to see it coming back. You know, it'd be fantastic. But
definitely. But so obviously, in most areas, like you know, in my vicinity of London, we have 5 clubs. Within there's 3 pitches, right? Basically, Sarsfields, Rosses, and Pauls are all within touching distance of each other, and you have Landurks and Treeses, St Agnes's, all within 5 minutes of each other.
Yeah.
So obviously the GAA would play a massive part in communities, but I think more in rural.
Yeah.
And like obviously speaking to you today, it sort of proved that. I mean, so was that? Would you say it? I mean, living here, I mean,
everything out around Glenravel here, everything is just the GAA. It's just it revolves around everything. And no matter what we do, GAA is there involved. And I think that's what the GAA actually helped us through the COVID here as well. You know what I mean? Whenever they shut down south, we shut down in the north as well. Like, but no, everything here is totally GAA. Everything's, no matter what you're doing, it's Con McGee's Gunravel. That's it.
Yeah. So obviously, like with the Casement Park renovation being stalled at the minute, and the county is without a home, let's say, for years now. I've actually seen a mate of mine does like a drone, and he took a drone footage of the other day.
Seen them.
And I just couldn't. I was
near crying.
That's
terrible.
It's like watching it, meeting. But I think they've actually they've cut the pitch down a bit. So I don't know why, or what, maybe they're just cutting them when it gets so long, whatever. But it's even looking at the stands now. And you just go there. I mean, I think back now when they have I think it was the 25th anniversary of the hunger strikes.
Yeah.
When they had when brought in I was marching with the flute band that day over there now, and they brought everybody down, and that'll be always my main memory at Casement. Yep. Obviously, it wouldn't be like a GAA thing, but it's in big song from Masala on the stage, and you just look at that ground then, you're going like, that's something proud of, you know what I mean?
It's an amazing ground. Even you're driving the motorway and you look up and you see the floodlights, you go, that's our ground, you know what I mean? But
obviously, that would you sort of think that we need to get that back for like busy Antrim to have any chance of sort of succeeding at all? Like?
I would say so. Yeah, we need a ground. We need that ground. We need a home. We need a home base. We do need a home base, but we also, one thing I actually think is, I think the city clubs and the Belfast, or the city clubs and the rural clubs maybe don't all pull together enough.
Yeah.
And that's where I think
and
a bit of the problem
look after their own kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's a lot of the way we want to have the best pitch, they want to have the best facilities, whatever. And
I think there's a little bit of that there involved, and that could be maybe down to the Ulster Council. I don't know.
Would you have any sort of memories of Casement? Like, would you?
Just various different matches. Isn't that way there? The other memory was one of the funerals. I'd say it. Yeah. I'll not mention that one there, but just like Glenravel, we played up in it there in some of the senior championships. Like, and I wasn't playing, but just to be at Casement Park and watching your club playing was just a really good feeling, you know.
See, it's pretty silly. I'll always remember it, but when they used to have like the didn't have like a shop. Basically had these pacing tables all around the place with selling like Mars bars and crisps or whatever. And I always remember, like, you go to, I mean, going 10:30, the big rush to go and get a Mars bar or a packet of crisps. But see, actually, my first memory of Casement is like, when I was back way when I was a kid. I remember this. My dad was the bar manager of the McDee's.
Down the stairs,
McDee's Social Club.
Not
in Casement, on the Glen Road.
Oh, right.
It was then turned into like a shebeen, so it was, which is a pretty famous shebeen, like. But then actually had a license and a proper bar. But I think McDermott's got into some final of what it was, and he's like, "Well, we're going to go," and they paid everybody in the back of like one of those old round transit builders vans. So the whole team, all the committee, and I can remember just sitting on my dad's knee in the back of this, like tools and all whatever and stuff, and went and watched the match, and they ended up the won that match that day. But all I can remember is the fucking red after it. There was, I think, about 4 or 5 of the McDee's players.
Is that right?
They sent off in it, and they still won the match. They won but it was like, and I remember getting back on the bus with the van at the end of it.
Friendly game.
All black eyes, nose busts and all whatever, but that's Casement there.
It is badly missed. I did see one of them drones where the grass was growing away up high, and it was just absolutely demoralising just looking at. And you sort of feel as if, you know, the other counties around the place are laughing at us, you know, laughing at the anthem, like, you know, when they look at Casement Park and they should be playing in it too, like, but this is actually Anthem's home ground as well, you know what I mean? It's any wonder we're not doing well whenever we can't agree to get our own pitch up and running.
I think a lot of clubs are eyeing up them floodlights. So they're going, here, we'll have them, whatever, because obviously whenever Casement gets built, they'll probably go put a whole new.
But it all started off with so good intentions, do you know what I mean? And then it just turned to shit.
So now, obviously, you haven't done a live gig probably in a while. Like, probably the last one you done was probably about a month ago now up in Kinturk. In County Tyrone. So this was the night, basically Gerard Glacken's idea of the Irish Brigade, and it's called a drive-in rebel night. And he mentioned to me at first, I was like, "It's Gerard," but he said, "No, believe me, look at this." He says they have drive-in bingo and all here.
Gerard has it sorted.
Drive-in bingo house or drive-in rebel night going to work with her. And so I went up and I done a few live videos, and so obviously it was yourself opened up, then Damien Quinn, then the Irish Brigade. It was a brilliant night.
Absolutely fantastic night. I really enjoyed it. Now.
Apart from they had a power cut just before the Irish Brigade started, and there was like, well, there was like they had to run because I think they were running the generator or something from the building.
From the building behind.
Blew all the fuses or something. It was. So how did you find like playing? Because obviously a lot of people were outside of their company. It was licensed down most of the night, so it was.
Yeah.
But there was still most of the people were inside their cars. So how did you sort of find like playing a crowd of flashing lights and horns instead of like
instead of flashing boobs and stuff? Is that
well, that's what you used to in Santa Paul.
It actually was it was really good to be actually at it, to be honest, because it's been that long since you had actually sort of interaction with anybody at all. Because you're doing the live feed, you're looking at the back of a phone and you're not talking to anybody, and you go, silence. Yeah. But so after done the first song, it was just, and then the horn started to, and then you just totally relax and go, yes, good. It
was just a really strange atmosphere.
It was strange, but there was something really nice about it. It was just
even like when I had it on live, and actually a load of the people then knew I was recording it live for the podcast, because as soon as it went on, obviously people get a notification. Yeah. So they were watching their phone. They're going, and so you're going around with the camera and they're all blowing their horns, and you knew they're watching it. So
the funny thing was, whenever because I opened up and I was the one that was starting it up, so I hadn't been in a car to say. So after I'd done my wee bit, and then I went into my own car to listen to Damien. Yeah. And then I had to switch on the radio and I was like, oh shit, that's good.
I couldn't believe this quality.
The quality of the sound was absolutely fantastic. I went, I really enjoyed this. It was a good night, great night.
I think that Michael Glacken, that kind of stuff, he's brilliant next week.
He's brilliant. The absolute genius around the sound engineering bit was absolutely fantastic. Really good.
Yeah. But, right, so folks, moving on. This is the part of the show we're going to do. It's a bit lighthearted, and like we've done. If you remember, we've done John Gardy's one. So it's like a 10 question, let's say, quick fire round. So I'm going to ask Mairtin 10 questions, or I'll give him 2 answers, right? And he can obviously elaborate on whatever one he sort of picks, and we'll have a bit of crack with it. So here we go. Right. So first one, hurling or football? And obviously, and folks, when I say football, I don't mean soccer. I mean football and like Gaelic football, because basically around here you can't call.
You don't mean Celtic then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, no. So hurling or football?
Probably hurling.
Right. Okay.
Why? I'll probably get flicking haunted for this here living in Gunnerabba because this is a massive football club. Like,
I think it's
but I prefer to watch the hurling. So yeah, I do. I love the pace of it. See watching some of the good matches there, like Kilkenny playing. Just best sport in the world. Did
you watch that thing? There's this guy called Josh Prey, the American guy. He's a black. He's not a comedian, but he reviews stuff. So he does. Right. And it was when Sky Sports were doing it. So somebody said to him, "You have to watch this hurling," but he was calling it hurling. This hurling match, man, whatever. And he says, "They're all fucking mad. What the hell?" He says, like, "These guys run about with fucking sticks hitting each other," and like he says,
"That's great sport."
But then, so other people, I started watching YouTube, and other like American people or even English people were watching it. They're going, like, "What the?" And people do this for fun. The matter what? Like,
it's the best sport in the world, isn't it? It's just it's great.
Definitely, huh? Take the helmets away again.
I think that too. You see, you remember talking about the '89 final? Do you remember the people who's coming around there?
The bandages.
The bandages of blood was pouring out of their heads. They were coming off, going, "Yeah."
Very good. Right. So, Ballycastle or Ballyponza?
Ballyponza all the way.
When I say Ballyponza, I was talking about Santa Ponza, folks, because obviously it's so. It's like walking into Falls Road when you go into Santa Ponza, so people just call it Ballyponza. So
they used to call it Ballymun in the Sun as well.
Did they? Ballymun in the Sun?
Years ago, it used to be called Ballymun in the Sun.
There you go.
But definitely nothing against Ballycastle. Ballycastle's great too, like, but I definitely give me the Ponza any day.
It's a bit warmer.
It definitely is. Definitely.
A bit more in it as well than the Ramos Fair. Right. So, champ or mish?
Champ.
See, all these culties always say this here, seriously.
Champ. If the next question is something to do with Fadge, it's Fadge.
I don't think I've put Fadge in there, so I haven't.
Champ all the way.
Champ all the way, right. So, I had this question, next one, before you showed me your motorbikes earlier on, right?
Right.
So, Mairtin, obviously, he's a fan of the bikes, we'll talk about that later on. But he brought me into his shed, and he basically has a big Harley Davidson and a Triumph.
A Triumph
so
speed triple.
The question was Harley Davidson or Triumph. This is before I even knew he had a Triumph. I thought he just had a Harley. Like, so we can,
I would say it's definitely going to still have to be the Harley.
Right.
Two different types of riding, like, but definitely I'm a Harley man.
Right. Okay.
Definitely Harley man.
So, Wolf Tones or Wolfhound?
Wolf Tones.
Wolf Tones.
You grew up with them, listening to them.
That's it.
Fantastic, absolutely amazing band. They've sort of shaped it for everybody as well as the Irish Brigade. That's another band that's sort of shaped everything for everybody. You know what I mean? So the Wolf Tones, we grew up listening to the Wolf Tones, the Alive Alive O album. Fantastic.
See, talking about the Wolf Tones, obviously I do like sort of DJ and stuff. Probably next to Dreading the Rise, my main job. But I think it was their 25th anniversary album. It was. We obviously used to go to Bonestown every year. You know the Wolf Tone commemoration. So before we started playing with the flute band. We used to go to the Roddies every year. And so obviously I used to, this when they had the tape before they even had CDs with. So I had to set up to turn the tape round.
You're showing your age.
Whatever. Yeah. So it was like, right, go you up there and turn the tape round the next side, whatever. And that was always on the bus. And it was like some way back, so it was like that was my first introduction.
Fantastic, man. You've done so much for Irish music, it's great.
Definitely. Right, so Glenroe or Glenravel?
Glenravel all the way. It has to be Glenravel. Like, I have nothing against Glenroe, and I told you that, God. But that's what I say, as a young fella, we used to have to come home, no matter where we were, in the car travelling with my parents. My dad was a massive fan of Glenroe, and we always had to come back here on a Sunday night for Glenroe. But still Glenravel all the way.
Could you ever imagine something like being filmed here, like, with a few characters in it?
There's definitely a few characters for Glenroe right here. I better not mention any names in case they listen then. But no, definitely.
Our one on a Sunday night was Heartbeat.
Oh, jeez, no, shit, man.
I know, but I got to remember, you used to get a bath. Faye was in the same bath. getting wasted, and then downstairs Heartbeat was on.
But Dan was always had to be home for Glenroe on Winning Streak. Remember Winning Streak on RTE?
Up in the south. Oh yeah, yes.
We always had to be home for it.
Right, Dublin or the Dubliner?
The Dubliner all the way, definitely.
Right,
definitely good times. I've had fantastic times in the Dubliner, to be honest, absolutely. And I've always been treated very well. I think it's a good bar, and we've always good crack in it. Nothing against Dublin. It's too commercial, I think, and there's not enough Irish people in Dublin.
Oh, definitely that, yeah. Right, so next one, fudge or potato bread?
Did I say potato bread? Has to be fudge, man. Has to be fudge. There's no such thing as potato bread. It's fudge.
Do you know whenever actually how it's? I'm slagging you, but we were going. It was actually the day. I think it was Celtic beat Aberdeen in the. I think it was the League Cup final.
Right.
When Rodgick scored the winner, right?
Oh yeah.
And we were going to. We travelling somewhere. We stopped off at Ballycastle on the way down the road.
Right.
To get something to eat, and I saw getting like an all day breakfast rolls and had this menu. I says, "The fuck's fudge?" I took the girl and it's come over. It's actually a girl in Belfast. She says, "That's potato bread." So it is, whatever. but it's on the menu. She says, "That's what they call it down here." So
I thought you just called it up there as well.
No, it was like, but I tell you,
you're not cultured at all.
No, they call it in Scotland, tatty scones.
Oh, yeah.
But, see, when I was, and this is going a bit off track, but I was when I was working at DHL, they sent me over to this place, Cambuslang, of all places.
Oh, Jesus,
right?
Chewing the fat and
yeah,
that's
over. So they sent us over to do that. So like trade teams, me and Depot was, right. So, but they had like a staff canteen, and I went and I was going to get a cup of tea. I says, "I'll give us a bit of bacon and sausage to her," and she went, "Square or link now." They call it over there, square sausage or links. Sausages, don't them fucking whatever them things are. I says, "And give us 2 potato bread," right? So I come back like. So she'd give me 2 rounds of bread and butter and 2 hash browns.
Is that what she gave you?
I was like, what the f*** is this? And she went, "Do you potato and bread?" "No, potato bread." She went, "What? Tatty scones?" "Potato bread?"
I actually should have known tatty scones myself. I've heard of them saying that thing.
There you go, Right, so obviously, when I was driving around here today, obviously, we've seen a lot of cattle and sheep and that sort of thing. So we'd say lamb or beef?
Beef.
All that.
Yeah, a bit of beef. That's the only way to make stew. It has to be stew. Beef stew. Good. Beef.
So, obviously you're a bit of a baker, and maybe don't know if you're into your heavy metal. So would you say country music or rock music?
Rock music, AC/DC man all the way. I grew up with AC/DC as well. AC/DC, Motorhead, all them boys. Great. That's the way I grew up. So going from Irish music and AC/DC, bit of a spectrum.
So you don't love the country stuff then, like?
I enjoy the country music too, like, but no, I definitely prefer. Prefer the rock music. So I
think actually, when I'm doing gigs most weekends, I think there's 2 songs that I would play, no matter what, if it's an 18th birthday party or a 70th or 80th birthday party, is Bits and Pieces, which is the rave song, right? And Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
No matter, you just, as soon as you put the first few chords on, you just see people going, and they're up, and they might have sat down all night, not even moved.
The trousers wrapped up.
They're getting up there.
I know that AC/DC to me, they were the band. So I've seen them loads and loads of times. Saying that, I've seen country bands as well, you know what I mean? And I sing country music as well. Depends, you have to play everything. When you're the Dubliner, you end up, you know, who's there, you could end up playing flipping anything, you know, so you could be country roads too.
Wagon Wheel learned off, I heard.
I used to actually like Wagon Wheel before Nathan Carter he's maybe even heard this, I don't know, but before he ruined it. But I used to love that song, but I don't really enjoy it anymore.
Oh, it's just... Nah, it's one of them songs like, oh no.
I know, it's just been absolutely ruined completely. The Old Crow Medicine Show was absolutely fantastic, man. I loved all that sort of music as well, the bluegrass music, I love it.
So folks, I got there was our 10 question quickfire.
I've done well.
There you go. So folks, moving on. So Marty, where would you sort of see like the current rebel music scene? I think obviously with the lockdown happening there, we got to see so many live streams happening with a lot of bands you would normally get to see. So obviously they're gigging, and very rarely we've seen a live stream, whatever. And I think, well, for me personally, the good thing is like a lot of younger faces will coming through doing some of the streams. I think especially like the females, because it's probably majority male sort of dominated like business. I think that Emer has played a lot in that there. She sort of made people sort of stand up, and like so like when you have like Krista Coyle from Derry and Maeve Walsh as well, which is that wee girl from the south. Like I've seen her doing a few streams. Like she's just a kid, like a wee girl. I think she's only 18 or something, 18 whatever. But I mean, so obviously, where do you sort of I think over the last few years the rebel scene has just really come back
The rebel scene in the last few years actually has just actually took a good rise up, and it's been actually buzzing. You know what I mean? And it's great seeing everybody. There's plenty of us out there singing, and it's fantastic to see everybody playing it and singing along. It's just as long as you just want to know what they actually are singing about, and appreciate what they're singing about, and that's the only thing that was sort of get in my head. You know what I mean? But I want them to appreciate their song. But it's great seeing everybody going up and doing the songs now. There's people singing there on Facebook. Never heard of them before, and absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Right, so folks, obviously, Marty, you released 2 albums. They were a good few years ago when you done them 2, weren't you?
They were a good lot of years ago, Rory. Aye, they were a good lot of years ago.
So, obviously, there's a bit of background music on them. So, tell us a bit about sort of who else was involved on the two CDs.
Well, the very, very first one was actually recorded up in Cargan by another friend up in a wee recording studio we had. And I had a few friends in. Had Matt Johnson, who used to play with Blackthorn. He was playing in it, and he actually done a good lot in it. And then in the other one, it was actually recorded down in County Offaly, down at Darren's house. And we had there was another boy, Paul Harrison. He played a lot of it as well. He actually plays a load of instruments. And we had another man, Desi Hines, who actually plays with Foster and Allen.
Right.
And he done the whistles and bits and pieces. So I would actually prefer live musicians coming in and playing it rather than going on to somebody doing it with the keyboard.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
That sort of way. So I prefer the live music.
I think there's some of the songs. Do you have the thing in it? Yellow Pipes.
Oh, there's a guy who done the Yellow Pipes. I never even got to meet the guy.
I love that sound.
I actually never got to meet the guy.
So how that work then?
Because I'd went down and done. Basically, went down into the studio and put down the vocals. And I was heading over to America to play for Paddy's Day.
Right.
So I left and went to America, and so I was there for 2 weeks or something. And I come back, and they had the music set and done for me, and then I come in and done the final vocals. I never even got to meet the guys.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Just had to pay them in the bill, and that was it.
Oh, sure, aye. Yeah, but so two brilliant albums, and they say there's a couple of songs I mentioned earlier on that not a lot of people will put. Some people do rebel albums and they'll just do all the big songs, like whatever. Yeah. So, there's the first track there.
Yeah, there it goes.
We're expecting we'll have an hour here with hearing a tractor drive past, but you're in the countryside. So, and actually, if you're listening to the video from earlier on of the one over in the graveyard, you'll hear a big. It's actually it might have been. Was we talking? Wasn't it? Come on, was it?
I could have been talking at the same time. I'm not sure.
It was I. Right, so folks, have you any sort of plans, Marley, for another maybe featuring another album? You reckon? Or?
I would love to do another album, Rory. But it takes a lot of money to do another album too. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I would actually like it done probably in a studio. I know a lot of people are actually doing in their own homes now, whatever. Yeah. But I just haven't the knowledge or the equipment to do it properly, So, but I would love to do another recording, but it's getting the funds gathered up to do it.
Especially now when you haven't got anything coming in.
You've not. That's all gone out the one way.
So, would you ever even think about doing like a live one in the Dublin or something? Or
but I would like to do a live one. But then whenever you do a live album, you'd actually need to bring in a proper sound engineer and get everything set up properly and getting all the mix. So there's a lot of work in doing that. You know what I mean? So especially if you're over there. You would be bringing somebody from home out to do, so that would actually be costing you extra money. It would be great to do a lovely live one in the Dubliner. I'd love to do a video, actually. Yeah,
but I suppose as well, like you might be like, do you sort of have a free roll of music over
in Dubliner?
Or do you have to more or less do a lot of requests for people? I mean,
I would never be sitting down. Any of the gigs I would do, I would never have a set list down, and I'd just play off whoever's there, whatever they want, and just go with the flow. You know what I mean? Of course, there's songs there you're going to be doing every night because people generally ask for nearly the same songs most of the nights anyway. But no, they basically give me a free roll. They could do whatever you want as long as
Right, so folks, before we're wrapping up, Marty, thank you very much, mate, for
very welcome. Thank you very much for having me.
Your home today here.
No worries.
So we're going to 2 more live songs, and we'll add them into the end here, folks. But so that there was episode 22. So it was. Thank you very much for watching. And hopefully the video has worked out well. It's a bit of a trial run, this one today. So Marty, what other 2 songs we'll do? Going to do then to finish? You reckon finish up with?
I think I'll do the Dying Rebel. That would have been. It's a song that I actually like to myself. Come back to sort of the history of Ireland in the 1916, and it was also a song my dad he would always have liked as well. And so sadly he's no longer with us neither. And one I'm just even thinking in my head. Since we mentioned the Spanish, I might just do Viva la Quita.
Oh, brilliant! Very good. There you go. So folks, here we go. Thank you very much for listening. For myself and the brilliant Marty Higgins.
Thank you very much.
Live here from the Glens of Antrim. So talk to you again soon. Cheers.
night was dark, the fight was silver. And shone down O'Connell streets, I stood alone where brave men perished. Those men have gone their God to meet. Well, the first I met said grey-haired father, searching for his only son. Said, old man, there's no use in searching, for up to heaven your son is gone. Oh, well, the old man cries out broken hearted, bending low, I heard him say, I knew my son, he was too kind-hearted. I knew my son, he would never yield. And the next I met was a dying rebel, bending low, heard him say, God bless my home in Belfast City. God bless the cause for which I've died. And my only son, he was shot in Dublin, fighting for his country bones. He fought for Ireland and Ireland only. Harping the shamrock, green, white and gold. Yes, my only son, he was shot in Dublin, fighting for his country bones. He fought for Ireland and Ireland only. Harping the shamrock, green, white and gold. Harping the shamrock, green, white and gold. Well, 10 years before I saw the light of morning, when a comradeship's of heroes is laid, and from every corner of the world come sailing the 15 International Brigades. They came to stand beside the Spanish people to try and stem the rise of fascist tides. And Franco's allies, their powerfully were wealthy. Brian Ryan's men came from the other side. And even the others are bleeding as a battle for Madrid it thundered on. And strength and love against the force of evil, and brotherhood against a fascist clan. And viva la Quita Brigada, no passer and the police to make some fight. And the lads hear the cry along the hillsides, and let us all remember them tonight. Oh, Bob Hilliard was the Church of Ireland pastor. From Killarney across the Pyrenees he came. From Derry came the brave young Christian brothers, and side by side they fought and died of Spain. And Tommy was 17, died in Cordoba. When a Fina had learned to hold his gun, from Dublin till the Villa till the Rio, and they fought and died beneath the Spanish sun. And viva la Quita Brigada, no passer and the police to make some fights. And land to the cry along the hillsides, and let us all remember them tonight. And many Irishmen heard the call of Franco, joined Hitler and Mussolini too. Propaganda from the pulpit and newspapers, well, they helped the Duffy Tomb and his crew. And when the word came from the to support the Nazis, well, the men of cloth failed the shits again. And the bishop blessed the blue shirts down in Galway, and they sailed beneath the swastika to Spain. And viva la Quita Regatta, no passer on the place that makes the fights. And see the cry along the hillside, and let us all remember them tonight. Well, this song is a tribute to Frank Ryan, Kit Conway and Titty Cootie too, Peter Daly, Charlie Reagan and Hugh Bonner, and many died, I can't name a few. And Sonny Boyle, Blazer Brown and Charlie Donnelly, Lim Thomason, Jim Straley from Short Strands, Tim Nolte, Tommy Patton and Frank Conroy, Tim Foley, Tony Fox and Dick O'Neill. And viva la Quita Regatta, no passer on the place that makes a fight. And tree the cry along the hillsides, and let us all remember them tonight. Viva la Quita Regatta, viva la Quita Regatta, viva la Quita Regatta, and let us all remember them tonight. Viva la Quita.